Somewhere in America right now, a landlord just woke up richer than when they went to sleep. Their tenant paid rent, their property value climbed, their mortgage balance dropped. They did none of that. Their real estate did it for them. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to build that machine. The reason real estate creates more millionaires than any other investment is not magic, it is math. Real estate generates not one, but three separate streams of wealth simultaneously. Stream 1, cash flow, the money left over after every expense. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, property management. If you buy the right property in the right market, money is left over every single month. $200, $400, sometimes more. It arrives whether you are working, on vacation, or sleeping. Stream 2, appreciation. Real estate gains around 3 to 5% annually in most markets, but because you used leverage, your actual return is far higher. Put $30,000 down on a $150,000 property. It gains 4%. That is $6,000 in gains on your $30,000 investment. 20% return from appreciation alone. Stream 3, equity paydown. Every month your tenant pays rent. You use that rent to pay your mortgage. Every payment transfers more ownership to you. Your tenant is building your net worth $1 at a time, month after month, year after year, until the mortgage is paid and you own the asset outright. Stack these three forces and you understand why every path to lasting wealth includes one common thread: real property. Now, let us get specific. Real estate content often stays vague on purpose. The numbers are where most people get nervous, but numbers do not lie, and these numbers will change how you see this. Model a typical rental property, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in a landlord-friendly secondary market. Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, Memphis, Tennessee. Purchase price, $160,000. 20% down, $32,000. Mortgage at 7%, 30 years, $850 a month. Now add expenses. Property taxes, $150 monthly. Insurance, $75. Reserve 10% of rent for vacancy, 10% for maintenance. Rent, $1,600 per month. Total monthly expenses, $1,350. Net cash flow, $250 per month. $3,000 per year. That is a 9.4% cash-on-cash return from cash flow alone. Add appreciation and equity paydown, and your all-in annual return approaches 18 to 20%. That is why serious investors hold, never sell. Here is the 1% rule, the simplest filter in real estate. Monthly rent should equal at least 1% of the purchase price. $1,600 on a $160,000 property. 1%. That deal has the math to work. Markets where rent is 0.5% of purchase price, San Francisco, New York, Boston, are appreciation plays, not cash flow plays. Know which game you are playing before you buy. Cash flow is what creates passive income. Appreciation is the bonus. The most important decision you will make as an investor is not which property to buy. It is which market to buy in. And this is where most beginners fail. They buy locally. They buy what they know. And if they live in a high cost of living city, they enter a market where positive cash flow is mathematically impossible. That is not investing, that is speculating. Markets that build real passive income share three characteristics. First, affordable prices relative to rents. The 1% rule is achievable. These are secondary and tertiary markets, smaller cities and suburbs, where prices have not been bid into the stratosphere. Second, population and job growth. Sunbelt cities have led this for over a decade. Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina have seen sustained inflows that drive rental demand year after year. Third, landlord-friendly laws. States with simple eviction processes and no rent control protect your income stream. Research your state laws before you buy. This is not optional. Run the numbers on at least 5 markets before committing. The homework you do before your first purchase determines whether this works. The most powerful starter strategy is called house hacking. Buy a small multifamily, a duplex or triplex. Live in one unit, rent the others. Your tenants pay your mortgage, often the entire housing cost. You build equity while paying nothing to live. With an FHA loan, you can start with 3.5% down, under $9,000 on a $250,000 duplex. After 2 years, you have equity, experience, and and a rental generating income while you move on to your next property. Once you own one property, the second is easier, the third easier still, because you are reinvesting cash flow, building equity, and above all, learning. You know what a good deal looks like. You know your market. You have a team, contractors, a property manager, a CPA who understands real estate. The 5-property plan is one of the most common roadmaps in this industry. 1 property at year 1, 2 by year 3, 3 to 4 by year 5, 5 by year 7. At 5 well-selected properties generating $200 to $400 monthly, you are looking at $1,000 to $2,000 a month in passive income. A meaningful supplement to any lifestyle, a foundation you keep building. The system that makes this truly passive is professional property management, 8 to 10% of monthly rent. They handle screening, maintenance, rent collection, lease renewals. Without this system, you have not bought passive income, you have bought a second job. There's a concept called infinite returns. When you use equity from one property to fund the next, and the next funds the one after that, your initial capital keeps compounding without limit. You are not just building income, you are building a machine that builds itself. Real estate does not care about your age, your degree, or your background. It cares about your numbers, your patience, and your willingness to educate yourself before you execute. If this changes how you see your financial future, you are exactly where you need to be. Hit that subscribe button. New videos every week on real estate, passive income, and the strategies that build lasting wealth. Drop a comment below with your biggest question about getting started. I read every single one. There is one advantage of real estate investing that almost nobody talks about in plain English, and it might be the most powerful of all. It is called depreciation, and it is the IRS giving you a gift. The IRS assumes that residential buildings wear out over 27 and a half years. So every single year, you can deduct 1/27 and a half of your building's value from your taxable income. On a $200,000 property, where the building value is $150,000, that is $5,400 in annual deductions. Every year, for 27 and a half years, here is the extraordinary part. That deduction exists on paper, even if your property is gaining value in the real world. Your building is depreciating for tax purposes while simultaneously appreciating in market value. This is called phantom loss, and wealthy real estate investors use it to legally reduce their tax bills to near zero. Combine depreciation with mortgage interest deductions, property tax deductions, repair and maintenance deductions, and the ability to defer capital gains through a 1031 exchange when you sell, and real estate becomes the most tax-advantaged wealth-building vehicle available to ordinary investors. The government wants people to provide housing. They reward you handsomely for doing so. Here is what I want you to take away from everything we have covered today. Real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a get-rich-slow and stay-rich-forever machine. The people who have built generational wealth through real estate did not do it because they were smarter than everyone else. They did it because they started, stayed consistent, and refused to quit when the learning curve felt steep. You now understand the income trifecta: cash flow, appreciation, and equity paydown. You know the 1% rule. You know how to analyze markets. You know the house hacking strategy that lets you start with almost nothing. And you know how depreciation can make your real estate income virtually tax-free. The only thing between you and your first investment property is a decision to learn, a decision to act, a decision to build something that outlasts you. If this video helped you see real estate differently, please hit subscribe, share it with someone who is ready to stop trading time for money, and drop a comment below telling me which strategy resonated most with you.